It's mid-April, and we have 6 weeks to clear out a house that my father built and lived in for almost 70 years. It's a task my brothers and I have dreaded to deal with for a long time and figured we'd have plenty of time to take care of it after my dad passed. But instead, my dad had to move out into assisted living and needed to have the house sold as soon as possible. And since none of us kids wanted the house, selling was the only option. Now, the reason why none of us wanted the house is that even though my dad was an excellent carpenter, he hated to be told what to do and how to do it. So he tended to forego permits and went about his projects in the most creative ways, which none of us wanted to deal with or fix. So, for instance, he wanted to add a shower to the main bathroom. Well, instead of putting it in the bathroom, he put it in the bedroom closet in the room next door. Then he remodeled the kitchen for my mom, beautiful oak cabinets and a big kitchen island in the middle. The only problem there is if you leaned on one end of it, the whole thing would pop off. And it was movable, even though that wasn't intended. And then he was so worried about the well running dry of water that he rigged the water pump so that anytime it went on, a light bulb in his shop would turn on, which he could see from either the shop or the house day or night. Needless to say that we were very self-conscious about going to the bathroom in the middle of the night. So anyway, so now it's time to deal with all of this stuff that's been collected over 70 years, furniture, art, household items, clothes, all my dad's machines and tools, all of it piled and stored in boxes and bags and closets and cabinets and drawers throughout the entire property. And it covered the unfinished bedroom upstairs as a storage room, all the closets, the entire kitchen, the dining room, the basement, the 2-car garage, the large attic above the 2-car garage, his full-size shop, and the whole second floor above the shop. All of that had to be dealt with. And so it begins. Phase 1, the estate sale. We had the estate sale ladies come by to tell us what is it that we should keep and get rid of and what should we sell. And it turns out most of it was sellable based on her mantra that you'd be surprised what people will buy. So we had 3 weeks to get ready for the estate sale, which was scheduled for Mother's Day weekend. So we started with, we scheduled a excavating company to take care of demolishing the built-in swimming pool. We scheduled a cleaning company to come in later on down the road, and then we scheduled this company called the Junk Recycler to come in after Memorial Day to get all the final stuff that needed to be cleared away. And we also hired a large dumpster delivered to collect and dispose of all of the unsellable, broken, dilapidated stuff. We filled that dumpster to the brim, 2 tons worth. So now we're trying to get ready for the sale and we're unloading boxes, gathering them, and putting them out wherever we could. At one point, the estate sale lady said, "Stop finding stuff. We're running out of room for where to put all this stuff." So while I took care of most of the in the house stuff, my brothers were in the shop working with the estate sale guy, trying to organize the 70 years worth of tools and machines that were just impossible to price every single item. It took all of the 3 weeks just to get that space ready. So day 1, I almost forgot. The week of the sale, 4 days before the sale, that's when the excavation company showed up with all their big machines and tools to demolish the pool, reroute the underground piping, and to fill in with dirt and throw in grass seed. 2 days before the sale, my dad falls and breaks his hip. His surgery was scheduled for the first day of the sale. We just had to hope that all would go well with the surgery without us having to be there. So day one of the sale, an hour before we even start, there's already a big crowd forming in front of the house and in front of the shop. And when we finally opened the doors, it wasn't like vultures picking away at a critter on the side of the road. No, 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 no. It was like piranha attacking fresh meat in the Amazon River. It was insane. Thankfully, my brothers were able to help out in the shop, and I was able to run around the house and the garage and help in that regard. And then the second day, I didn't realize they were going to do this, but everything was going to be half price. That brought in a whole new wave of people. It was like a zoo during a full moon. And after it was over, even though we sold a lot, there was still a ton of stuff that we had to deal with. Enter phase 2, time to donate. So now we had 3 weeks until the open house for the sale of the house. So we're repacking all of the donatable stuff into boxes and bags and hope that we could find people who would take it or could take it. The Veterans of America, they took away 17 large bags of stuff. Habitat Humanity took the grandfather clock and a whole bunch of tools. We packed 3 carloads and drove over all the nicer things to a fancier thrift store in the town next over next. And then it was about 5 or 7 carloads of stuff that went over to Goodwill. And still, after all that, there was still stuff that had to be dealt with. So enter phase 3, the junk recycler. Per his recommendation, for Memorial Day weekend, we took anything we could and put it out in the front lawn and in the driveway with a huge sign that said free. That weekend, sitting in a lawn chair in the garage, in the shade of the garage with my fluids and my snacks, I witnessed the rewording of that mantra. It was, you would be surprised what people will take away when it's free. When the junk recycler first came by our house, he estimated that it would take half a day and maybe 2 truckloads to cart all the rest of the stuff away. In reality, it took 2 days and 4 truckloads before everything was cleared out in all the attics, the garages, the house, and the basement. Surprisingly, we managed to get everything done with barely a day to spare for the open house. 5 months later, the house was sold, creativity and all. To this day, my brothers and I always still talk about how crazy that whole process was. And we're so grateful that we don't have to worry about it or deal with it anymore. Invariably, one of my brothers will say, I wonder if the new owner figured out why that light goes on and off in the shop.